Don't trust or respect anyone who does these 5 things. Today we are going to look at 5 must-haves that you should not miss, which without a doubt are 5 red flags of people we should not trust. If you are a person who finds it hard to get through to others and there is always that doubt, always have that doubt. No doubt this video is going to be very useful because these 5 things are 5 red flags that you cannot trust. Of red flags that you can't miss and that you can't not pay attention to, and that without a doubt is for you to see that you can't trust or respect anyone in the good sense, in the sense that you don't respect that they want, for example, to be with you, to walk away without looking back, 0 contact. Let anyone who does these 5 things do. Stay because I'm going to leave the most important for last, along with my personal conclusion. While this subject is very important, it is necessary that we all set limits, and within those limits there are some red flags that must not be crossed. And in the end, even if at a given moment we say, hey, look, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to give another chance, or I think that this time this person will change, time is in charge of setting the limits. Time takes care of putting everyone in their place, and in the end, unfortunately, this type of opportunity does not usually work out, so it is very necessary to know these signals, to be very clear about these red flags in order not to lose time, efforts, or illusions along the way. The first warning sign. This important red flag is that we should not trust anyone who is always criticizing others. Somehow we all know. Someone immediately comes to mind. There are people who are always criticizing others, always seeing the negative side. They are always seeing the bad side of things, and hey, their life is a continuous struggle and fight against everything. So this type of person, in addition to the fact that the relationship is very toxic, it becomes quite difficult to be able to establish a healthy relationship and, moreover, a positive relationship, simply. The one who talks about others is probably that kind of person with a bad character, toxic, who only seeks to poison you, and in addition there is a problem, and that is that this type of person tends to drain a lot of energy. Let's say they are like emotional vampires. Suddenly you realize that having been with this person for a while and having gone through everything he has said to you, all that shower of toxic, negative ideas, he has criticized you about someone. And ranting at will, then you realize that you say, oh my God, I'm so tired, and it's from enduring that downpour of negativity. So realize, pay attention, put the alarm over his head, and don't look out for him, look out for you. And you should not trust this type of people. These people are really so immersed in their world of negativity and toxicity, that they are not happy, and if they are not happy, if they are not able to be happy because they only see the bad side of things, the bad side of others, and they only see the pure confrontation, it seems that everything is a provocation against them. Little can be done here. There is a very deep victimhood mentality there, that even trying to speak logically, trying to make them see reason, it is quite improbable, quite unlikely, quite impossible to change their minds because they have that way of thinking. And it is very complicated. And we have to be clear that people who are happy and are calm with their lives are not dedicated to talk about others, is that you do not even stop to look. That is, you go straight to your goal and everything else matters little. You pay little attention to what others have or don't do or don't do to you. It is simply not so important. The person who is there, who is stuck in that if this or that, look at that one, how is he doing? It is because he is not happy and because he is somehow looking for the unhealthy way out of envy, or because of course, then a person like that does not assume much, does not contribute much, does not help much. Finally, this type of people you have to flee like the plague, because if they speak badly of others, they are surely speaking badly of you. So it is important not to trust or respect this type of person, in the sense that 0 contact and leave in peace. Second type of person from whom we cannot expect much, the person who smiles and thanks everyone, that person who is friends with everyone, who is always good with everyone, who is always making fun of everyone, that type of person who, wherever he goes, has friends, ha ha. who has friends wherever he goes, ha ha he he, and that it seems that everything is a continuous party, that type of person at first he's usually well liked, he is usually reliable, but realize that in the long run he is a person that if he is good with everyone is quite unlikely to be. All 100% honest, 100% legal to say this person is trustworthy is a trustworthy person. This type of person who seeks only to look good is in the end a person who turns his jacket as he pleases, and it is very difficult to reach a more solid relationship, more trustworthy. Sincerely for this reason, because in the end the only thing that matters to him is to look good, the only thing that matters to him is to save his own skin. And to what extent he will sell yours, for example, to make himself look better, to make himself look good, above to look good, this type of well-wishers that is usually said they are people who make the pamplina, they usually say here. And sincere in this type of behavior, he tries to please everyone, always wants to be the center of attention, and the only thing he looks for is constant approval. The only thing he looks for is the constant approval of the others, to be the center of attention. Then really there is not a sincere friendship, a healthy friendship. Someone you can trust, someone you know will be there through thick and thin. People like that you are going to have at the moment. They have something somehow to get out of you, but nevertheless they live. They pass through your life almost like a gale. They come and go because they really easily replace people. It seems that they are looking for a goal. It is not clear what it is. To be the center of attention, to always look for the acceptance of the others, to please them constantly. And they are moved by this type of utilitarian materialistic interest, but there is little to scratch there. If you like this content, do not forget to subscribe and comment. Tell me your case, tell me what worries you in this topic, and remember that I will leave the best for you. Remember that I will leave the best for last along with my personal conclusion. The third type of person that is complicated, if not impossible, to trust and respect in quotation marks, is that type of person who pretends to listen to what you say, that type of person who is always there, like a little parrot, who wants to pretend that he's listening to you and yet he's not listening, and you realize that. You try to exchange an idea and he says yes to everything constantly. He even keeps looking at his cell phone. This kind of attitudes are not really very sincere, they are not very honest, and in the end the person ends up getting used to this type of person because there is really little that is like talking to a wall. That person is not really listening to you, nor is she listening to you. Person is neither listening to you, nor is she going to contribute anything to you. It does not seem that you can trust him, her, because if she is not listening to you, it seems that she does not care about you. The minimum requirement in a conversation is that someone listens to what you're saying, otherwise it ceases to be a conversation, it becomes a monologue, right? If this happens to you, stop talking, don't talk to the walls, stop talking. You get up, you say you are leaving, you are not obliged to be with people who are not listening to you, who are not interested in you, who are not interested in what you have to say. It's silly to waste your time and waste your way out. Fourth type of people, well, with a red flag over their head. People who are always getting into trouble. This type of person seems to smell and love trouble and are always thinking about it. This kind of people, we really have to run away from them because as if they were a plague, that is to say, let's see, there is a search for a coherent way of thinking, right? Coherent thinking, right? And of a certain level of intelligence, and it really seems that there is not, because it is that, or yes, but only focused on looking for problems because they don't really care about the rest. So if you really want to live quietly, calmly, without problems, then with a certain calmness, this type of people cannot be near you, because the problem, never better said, is that when looking for those problems, they involve you. And you will always be involved in their problems, and it is that every day for them a new difficulty appears, all uphill all the time. If they don't find them, they look for them, the problems, everything is difficult. Distrust this type of people. It is not by chance that their life is full of problems. Suddenly you say, my mother, this person has a super complicated life. How is it possible? It is not by chance this type of person attracts this type of problems, all the problems in the world. What chance? It is not by chance the person is self-sabotaging every day. is not able to see life as it is, does not learn from mistakes, and probably is not learning from his emotions. And the fact is that people who only collect obstacles, problems, and dramas have only one difficulty, and that is themselves. Well, and we have arrived at the fifth, last, most important warning sign of certain types of people. I have left this one for the end because I like it better. You know that I always leave what I think is most relevant for the end together with my personal conclusion, and this topic is very important because it is very important. Conclusion, and this topic is very important. Is a very important issue because somehow knowing it, being clear about it, protects us. Well, the fifth thing we have to pay attention to a warning sign of types of people who do these things that we cannot tolerate, is the person who constantly irritates you. Imagine yourself in your living room, in your home, calm, quiet, calm, and suddenly, and this doesn't happen. And this does not happen in isolation, but it is quite common. Suddenly they bother you, they irritate you, suddenly that calmness disappears, that peace, and suddenly they start to, well, in a way, upset you. And this is something that happens often, more than you would like. This type of people that always upset us, they look for us, they irritate us, annoy us, are people who are bringing a lot to our life and not at all positive. If they always make you angry, it is because they subtly provoke you and you have to detect it. There is a gaslighting there. There is something there. That is always poking the person who pokes, who seems to do nothing, but in the end you realize that you are angry, pissed off, and you say, well, why me? In the end you don't realize it, and you say, and everything comes in such a civil way, so soft that you hardly notice it, but you realize that you go too far and you can even spend your days angry. And it is that sometimes simply by throwing ideas that feed your doubts, we can get angry. That is to say, there is a very subtle psychological attack, and it seems that they do it because they enjoy it. It gives them pleasure to see you upset. So it is necessary to detect this type of delicate, complicated, complex situations because they are very subtle, but they are very dangerous for the mental health of the person. And if you finally detect these situations with this type of people, then you have to assume that this type of people in your life brings a lot and badly. So my final conclusion is that these 5 things are 5 things that are 5 limits that we should not let pass in favor of our mental health. And that many times we do somehow, without even realizing it, unconsciously consent, tolerate, and put up with. And then we say, hey, look, I have anxiety, I have depression, and I have not realized it, so on and so forth. Well, many times it comes from putting up with this type of situations of people and complications. There are 5 very important factors at the level of care: self-care, protect yourself, establish zero contact, and leave on foot. Don't trust or respect anyone who does these 5 things, because really, as a bottom line, imagine the value, the moral, ethical value of this person. I mean, no one in their right mind would want to be with someone like that. There is little you can do. There really are times when people, I don't understand why they say here, now I start to raise this doubt. If you know it, please leave me in the comments the solution, because I really don't know it. The question is, why do people think that they can change this kind of people? It is that you have to be very optimistic to think that really this type of people can. It is possible that they can and want to, that surely they will never want to change. Why? Because this type of action gives them pleasure, a reward in some way, and does not cause them any discomfort. So they will not really want to change this type of attitudes if they are not feeling that discomfort and that need to change. Feeling that discomfort and that need to change because they have that intention. Well, if you have come this far, remember to subscribe, comment, send this video to whoever you think needs it. It is very important, these warning signs, these red flags. Comment, subscribe, and see you soon. Thank you.